here we are, episode 10 of Rupaul's Drag Race, season 10. So, last week there were no eliminations. Woo! Yeah, we kept Eureka and Cameron. And when we're back in the workroom, we're straight in with the shade from Aquaria. Now, the thing with Aquaria is that she just doesn't really understand how to communicate with people. The thing with Aquaria is she's always thinking about Aquaria rather than anybody else, or how her communication with them might affect them emotionally, or, you know, however. And this is a prime example of that. Aquaria is so focused on herself that she can't allow anybody else to have just that moment of joy of, oh, wow, I've made it, I'm safe. Asia picks her up on it and is very clear. You don't need to say that shit. It does not need to happen. Next day, back into the workroom, and we have Team NYC, Team Texas, and Team Tennessee. So we're at the table and everybody's talking, and a fair play to Aquaria, she apologises for the way she phrased what she said the day before. Not that she said it because that's what she believes, but that she upset people. Sometimes it's better to just keep it inside. RuPaul arrives, and the mini challenge this week is trade. So the girls have to butch up. They have to turn themselves into big, butch, manly men. And there are certain degrees of success and certain degrees of non-success in this. I would say that the people who weren't that successful were Cracker and Asia. Like, when Asia looks fit, but not Trade. Like, Trade is rough, and there's quite a lot of eyeshadow on Aquaria for her to be Trade, unless she's a meth head. Eureka looks horrible, not attractive at all. The only person who I really thought looked attractive was Cameron. Well, that's because Cameron is just really hot. But BJ, aka Eureka, wins this challenge, and that means that she gets to pick who goes with who for the main challenge, which this week is to turn social media kings into queens. Now, I've got to be honest, I don't really know who any of these people are. I know who Frankie Grande is purely because his sister is Ariana Grande. In terms of everybody else, I don't know who they are. Maybe it's just because they're not actually famous. Woo! Controversial. Eureka picks who she thinks will be the most difficult for each person to work with, and saves Frankie Grande for herself, which is a bold move because, like, Frankie Grande has a reputation for being really over the top and occasionally quite hard work. So the girls all split off and they're talking with their partners and they're getting to know each other. Asia asks her partner what he knows about drag. And he's like, oh my god, this is great, I love it, I'm so excited to be here. I've watched every episode of Drag Race, sometimes twice, and I've watched Untucked. Girl. No. Maybe it's because they're all social media that they don't actually go out. But let's just reiterate this for the people in the back who weren't listening the first 500 times somebody said it. RuPaul's Drag Race is this tiny slither of the cake of drag. There is so much more to drag than just RuPaul's Drag Race. And we've seen some of that with the critiques from the judges, that people's signature looks are derided and told, that's not good, that's not cool. Well, actually, it is. And it pays their bills. So actually, it's fine. Rant over. The rest of the girls are all getting to know each other and their partners. We can see that potentially there might be some issues for Miss Cracker because her and her partner are both quite insular. And then the same for Cameron. Cameron's is also straight like Miss Cracker's, but Cameron has had a difficult time with straight guys. Like, I can put my hands up and attest to that. I have been there. It is difficult. One-on-one, I've never had a problem with anybody. But when straight guys all get in a group, sometimes it becomes a bit threatening, unless we're all having a nice time. Rupaul comes in, and I gotta say, this is my favourite walkthrough from Rupaul ever. She's animated, she's excited, she's charismatic, she's cracking jokes, she seems genuinely interested and excited about what's going to happen in the workroom. Whereas usually, all we see from Rupaul is the robot. So, what are you going to do today? And it's just a bit like, Rupaul, if you're watching, this is what we want from you. More of this and less of the other. We want to see more of the human. Because that person who was happy to crack jokes and be fun with the people in front of them was much more interesting than the other person that we see most weeks. She's not going to watch this, is she? She's going to like... And if she did, can you imagine? She'd be like, who is this bitch? Kill her. Before Rupaul leaves, she drops in a little nugget that not only do they have to create a family resemblance between the two of them, they also have to make a homemade video to her song, Charisma, Uniqueness, Nerve and Talent. And then off she pops. It's like a little nugget, like a bomb thrown in the room. Boom! And you can see all the girls go, sugar lumps. Now we have to do that as well as get this person into drag and make them good on the runway. And, you know, so there's a lot for them to do. The girls are all having a laugh with each other and they're trying out costumes, and their partners are all doing like a mini ball with all their heels on and stuff like that. And it looks like they're having great fun. The only thing with that is it's not always that useful because there's a lot to, you know, get right in this. Shit. Miss Cracker is over to one side with her partner and she's really focusing in on trying to get what they need to do right, which is probably how I would operate as well. My big disappointment in this episode is that we don't get to see any of the process. Like, everything is so reductive. We just get a tiny little snippet of them walking in heels, and that's it. We don't get to see them practicing their runways. We don't get to see them working out what they're going to do for their videos. We don't get to see them recording their videos. We don't get to see them making any of the costumes that people are wearing on the runway. And I think that that's the more interesting thing to me than the runway itself, is the process and the development of these ideas. We're gonna move on to the runway itself. We're just gonna do my favorites and least favorites. So my favorites this week were Asia and her partner. I think the jacket is amazing. I think it's incredible that she managed to make that. I have got to say, Asia's partner's wig was not as nice. Their makeup was not as nice. And the jacket, although really good, is not quite as nice either. Which, yeah, fair play. That's what most of us would do for our sister as well. You don't be the bride and have the bridesmaids looking better than you. That's the tea. My other favourite this week was actually Eureka and Frankie Grande. I thought the dresses are real old school, like that is old school pageant. But I thought the work on them was really good, the shape, everything, the cut, the design. It did the job, it did exactly what it needed to do, and they were very clearly related, like, you know, they were the house of Eureka O'Hara. Obviously, I absolutely loved Crackers. The transformation was enormous. From this guy with a beard and a very square face, you know, a very masculine face. And she made him look really beautiful. And he really went for it. Cracker was great, but he sold it. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think she could have won. If she'd had some of the other partners, then I don't think they would have done as much justice to what she'd done to him as they did. My least favourites were Money Exchange. The sequins are nice, they looked okay. I didn't think her partner's makeup was that grey. I'd have preferred him to have been in contacts as well rather than the glasses. And the other thing is as well is that we don't know whether they've all made these outfits or whether they brought them with them, but Monet's looked like it was off the shelf. You know, it looked like it had been bought rather than made. That's what I'm talking about with we don't get to see any of the process. We don't have any of that information to judge it properly and say, well, you know, she didn't make that, she didn't do this, So we don't really get the full picture in order to understand some of the decisions that the judges have made. I didn't like Aquarius. I didn't think the makeup was that good. I thought the dress was horrible. I don't even think Aquaria looked that. It's because we're so used to seeing Aquaria looking really incredible, and then it was just okay. You know, I'd have liked amazing from her because that's what we've come to expect. Moving on to the video, this just felt really throwaway. Like, it was pointless. We could have done without it. It was like the producers went, okay, we're at episode 10 and we need to up the ante a little bit here. What are we going to do? Well, they've got to make them up, so get them to make a video as well. Then that's, you know, something. It wasn't necessary at all. There was already lots of work gone into turning these people into drag queens. And the only thing that it did do was it served to highlight some of the flaws in the guys. With the girls, they've been doing this a long time, they know what they're doing. But with these boys, the majority of them are not trained performers. With the exception of Frankie Grande, who is amazing in the video, really, really good, very funny, they're just not that great. And it's because this is not their job. You know, this is not their comfort zone. Their comfort zone is making material and content and putting it online. I just think we could have done without the video. It didn't really serve that much of a purpose. This week, Cracker is crowned queen! And I don't think I've been so happy for anybody in this competition winning a challenge so far. It's been far too long. She's been so close on so many occasions, and it's either been her or somebody else, and it's always been somebody else. So I'm really pleased for her in this. This week in the bottom three, we have Cameron, Monet, and Aquaria. And like I said, I'm shocked that Aquaria was not in the bottom two this week. But I'm not head judge, and there we go. So we get a great lip sync from Cameron and from Monet. I've got to say though, Cameron does very similar things to last week. You know, and if she were to be in the bottom again and serve that up, she would absolutely be gone. There's just no way that she would, because it's a bit like a one-trick pony. Monet does a Robbie Turner. I don't mean that she says to everybody that her Uber driver died. I mean that she smashes one of the light bulbs by running from the back and doing a split all along the floor. And it didn't look like she was going to stop, did it? It looked like she was going to go right over the way. Unfortunately, the running split was not enough to save Monet this week, and we wave goodbye to Monet Exchange. It's all about the money, money, money. We don't want your money. Well, we do want your money. Actually, out of all of the girls, if I were to go and see a show, I think I would want to go and see Monet's, because you know you're going to get a good show from her. You know she's going to be good fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back next week with episode 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 10! See you then. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe as well. Bye bye!